Are you ready? Let's go!
Don't you sometimes just want to talk about everything? You know, there's days when you can just talk about anything. Need to sit back and chat about nothing at all? Nothing But Julie, coming at you with fun and creative topics and interviews.
Did you hear Julie's podcast? She's got the greatest topics.
Come join the chat about everything, anything, and nothing. So unwind and tune in to Nothing But Julie. Great topics and cool interviews with some pretty awesome people. And now, without further delay, here's Nothing But Julie.
Hello, everybody, and thank you so much for joining me. I am Julie Schrager, your host of Nothing But Julie podcast. Welcome to this wonderful Hump Day Wednesday. Hope you're all doing well. Today, I wanted to do something fun. So I thought about discussing so many of these trends. You know, let me start off by saying that I do like TikTok. I will watch TikTok videos every day, mostly at night. And I'll be honest with you, some of it is crap, but some of it is very informative. And one of the things that I like is that it discusses trends, new trends. And so apparently there's this new trend where, okay, skinny jeans are out and side parts are out, and now middle parts are in. And apparently if you have a side part, you're showing your age. Now, let me tell you what bothers me about that. I happen to look better with a side part than a middle part. It's not because I'm older, which is true. I am older, but I look better with a side part. So that's one thing I don't understand about this particular trend. If you look better with skinny jeans versus jeans that maybe have a bell-bottom look or a bootleg, then how come that is considered outdated? If you look so much better and feel better with a side part than a middle part, why is that not a trend? Like, I'm going to walk around with a middle part when I look ridiculous? So it started making me think about different trends and trends that are starting to come back, trends that were once huge back in the 80s, maybe 90s, that are coming back. And it reminds me of this really nice pink jumpsuit that my mom had. And it was really in at one time or another. And she didn't get rid of it. She held on to it. And guess what? In a period of time, it became trendy to start wearing again. And it made me remember, these trends kind of make me remember that moment. Don't throw anything away. Well, don't be a hoarder, but you don't want to throw things away. And so I started doing a little bit of research back into the 80s. And so those of you that are my 80s girls and boys are going to enjoy this. What 80s trends are back in style today? Do you remember oversized blazers with shoulder pads back in the 80s? I mean, I don't know how you can. And not just the blazers, but like everything had shoulder pads. And you had to either buy the item with the shoulder pads in them, or remember you had to buy the shoulder pads separately, and how you would constantly be taking them and putting them like underneath your sweaters and your shirts. That is not a trend that I would like to come back. But I remember an oversized blazer. It was like a houndstooth blazer that had shoulder pads. My God, I wore that blazer out. I wore it with skirts. I wore it with leggings. I wore it with skinny jeans back in the 80s. And those were so substantial. And I remember that the blazers were boxy and big, like, what's the name of that group? I can't believe I can't remember. It's going to come to me in the middle of this podcast. Oh, Talking Heads. I forget the video and I forget the name of the song. But when he is, like kind of moving his shoulders up and down, and all he's wearing is this like oversized blazer. Oh my God. That was so fun. And now what is considered oversized, like an oversized blazer with shoulder pads, they're more structured on the shoulders, even though they do have padding. They're not as big and boxy. They kind of conform to your body's shape, your shoulder's shape. So it's not like it looks like, you're getting ready to go to war like the oversized blazers did. And these are actually really kind of cute. It definitely, takes I would say takes from the oversized blazer, but it's reduced quite a bit. And those products are what a lot of the younger ladies are wearing now. So let's move on. Do you remember the patchwork denim? We had jeans, we had overalls that were in denim, and we would cuff the bottom. And we had jean jackets. Oh my God. I remember I still have a jean jacket. And I'm sorry, but I still think that it's kind of, trendy myself. And I remember when I was younger, I had a denim jacket, and I went to the Comac flea market, and I had an artist paint the album cover from Duran Duran's Rio onto the back of that denim jacket. And it was such a proud moment. I remember going to school feeling like, oh my God, I'm so cool. And I had that. God, where is it? Where is it? I don't even know what I did with it. But anyway, it was denim. And back then it was all the rage. And do you remember acid wash jeans, the lighter color jeans? Oh my God, remember when that became a thing? You could even buy denim with the patchwork, on it. Or you could just add the patchwork yourself. And so what it has kind of replaced it today? Well, I've got to tell you something. The patchwork denim now, those jeans, they have embroidered floral patterns, and there are many different patches that are back. If you look around, you'll see that there's many younger people who are walking around with patchwork on their jeans. Also, ripped jeans. Many, many years ago when I was a teenager, I wore ripped jeans. I even wrote on my ripped jeans with Sharpies, different color Sharpies. And now the jeans that have like embroidered floral patterns and patches are so in, especially for the fall. It's kind of like instead of you doing it yourself, you can buy them already with the patchwork or already with the actual rips in them, or you can rip them yourself or take an old pair and go ahead and rip them. It's always how things are, how you buy things back, let's say in the 80s or in the 90s, right? And then, and then when they come back, they're not 100% back, but they're back to the point where they are so familiar looking that they don't look identical to what we used to wear, but they're similar. And it kind of makes me feel good. It's like, hey, I used to wear something like this. It's very close in comparison. So moving on. Ray-Bans. Now listen, Ray-Bans, they, as far as I am concerned, never go out of style. Me, my friends, people that I knew, people that I know, back in the 80s, all they ever wore were Ray-Bans. And my very first pair of Ray-Bans had red frames and mirrored lenses. And I had those forever. It never went out of style. Although there were few and far between people, few and far between that actually would dare to wear red. Now, I still have Ray-Bans. I have the Wayfarers and I have the Aviators, and I've never really gotten any other kinds because they're so comfortable and they're so trendy. And I remember that the Wayfarers, I think that they were in style back in the 50s, like the mid 50s. And then there was a resurgence in the 80s, which is when I would wear them. And that is, from what I understand, contributed to a certain movie that made them kind of come back out again. And today, they're still trendy. They have remained trendy over the years. And it's still apparently one of Ray-Ban's most popular pair of sunglasses. I love them. I think that they're so comfortable. They come in so many different colors. And it's not, I think, anything that might ever really go out of style. I mean, it's been around since the 50s. We're talking, 50 plus years. So here's the next one. Do you remember power suits? Even women who wore power suits, some of them were monochrome back then. I remember wearing pantsuits all the time when I was working. I never really liked wearing skirts. I liked wearing, suits, but pantsuits. And that was on the timeline in fashion history for a long time. I'll tell you, though, that the 80s, that was the age of the power suit. And I was a working woman, and it was something that just kind of fit me well. Now, you know what? I know that there are many people that still wear this power suit, like Hillary Clinton. That's all she ever wore and wears. It's just her style. And right now, these power suits that women wear, they're much more modern as far as the fit, kind of like men's suits. They're not boxy and they're still around, but many men won't wear oversized suits anymore. It's more form-fitted. But the monochrome styles actually still work. I mean, you can get bright colors like the Easter colors, which are very, very pretty. And they're still trendy. But again, they're just not as oversized, I would say, as they used to be back in the 80s. I remember wearing, they weren't very tailored pants. They were definitely loose. And the blazer that would go over it was loose. That if I were working right now and I wanted to wear a power suit, I would definitely be wearing something that was more form-fitted to my body. So, if we move on, back in the 80s, do you remember the cropped jeans? Oh, cropped jeans were so in. I loved cropped jeans. I loved the fashion of the 80s, and I know many of you did. I mean, some people might laugh at us, our kids might laugh at us, ha, but let me tell you, you can't beat the fashion. Oh, and the hair back in the 80s, that was just, it was sublime. We were the masters of fashion back in the 80s, and the cropped jeans where you had that cuff where I think it was called pegged at the time, pegged jeans. You had to achieve like a tight cuff. You had to roll it a certain way. And those, along with an oversized blazer, oh, come on. It was all the rage back then. So, what do they now have? What is something similar now that can compare? Well, the crop jeans that they have now no longer have a cuff. Even though, a traditional cuff is still in fashion, the emerging styles of these jeans are cropped. And when you look at the hemline, they're more rough and uneven, where it looks like there is no hemline and the bottom is frayed with a little bit of a flare. And that's really cool too. But again, it all stems from what we had in the 80s. I think that it wasn't just the 80s. I mean, there's many styles in the 80s that stemmed from the 40s, the 50s, the 60s. So moving on, let's talk about fanny packs. Now, I'm a little divided. I love a good fanny pack. And sometimes when I'm out and about, let's say doing my walking or walking a dog, I have a flat fanny pack. It is, I guess, what you would consider a runner's fanny pack, but it's flat. It doesn't bulge. And I love it because I can have it flat up against my back or my front. And it's just, more in. And I think back then, they were originally worn around the waist and the bag was situated in the back or on the side. Well, hence the name fanny pack. But even though they were popular back then, I think that they were worn more for practical purposes, not to be like a fashion thing. So what do they have today? Well, what I just said. The fanny packs are not as big, and they're more kind of flat. And they're kind of used more for like on-the-go people such as myself. There's this one fanny pack that I really, really like. If you want to use it for like a fashion statement wherever you're going, and it's more fashionable, like it might have a clasp in the front. It will still go around your waist, but it still has a clasp in the front, but it's a lot more modern looking. They're kind of going by the name or the guise of belt bags, which I think was fueled through Instagram. And it still has, the belt that goes around, like I said, but they're not crazy expensive and they're kind of cool looking. And when I use one, not for a fashion statement, but when I go walking, and I definitely need one when I have a dog that I have to walk because I've got treats and corrector and all this other stuff in there, it really is worth it for me. So let's move on. Let's see what else was trendy back in the 80s. Oh, well, this is definitely one. Sequins and shine. Back in the 80s, everything was so shiny and glitzy and glittery. Do you remember that? There were sparkles and shimmery everywhere. All that kind of fabric. Everywhere you turned, it was all this kind of like fun, whimsical type of colors with the sequins. But now, they still have sparkly looks. The difference is they're more modern, like I said before with a few things. Sparkly looks of the 80s, they kind of were over shiny. It wasn't more of like a subtle type of a look, which is now. Is more kind of like, shine grunge. But right now, the sequins are back, but they're not, it's not ungepatchkerd. Like you wouldn't wear a dress that is huge and bulging out from all different areas and the sequins. Now, like I said before, things are more form-fitted with the sequins, and it looks really, really pretty. Okay, this is something that I am guilty of too. Ruffles. Ladies, do you remember the blouses we used to wear that had ruffles? They had the shoulder pads also. Some didn't, but the ruffles were so big. You remember that? I mean, you couldn't just get small ruffles. They were big. You could see them a mile away, not only in popularity, but in size. And the blouses, most of them would have the ruffles like down the front and came in various different colors. It made you look like you belonged on a pirate island. So, what have they replaced it with now in 2021? Well, there are still blouses, most definitely, mostly by Southern women. that wear it who love ruffles, but they're much more subtle. They're not as big and bold and huge, like making you look like you have, a 300-pound arm or a 500-pound arm. It looks like your arm is smaller, more petite. It's more form-fitting. I'm actually looking at this picture. It's very nice, actually, in this like forest green. It's really pretty. All right, moving on. What was trendy in the 80s? The sleeves. Do you remember those sleeves? Those big, big sleeves. Well, was anything small really in the 80s? I wonder. I don't think that there was anything small. Even our hair was big. Big, big, big hair. Oh my goodness, I remember that. So, what kind of sleeves do they have now? The sleeves they're much more narrow. They're not as big. The puffy sleeves that used to look a little kind of over the top, they're much more, I would say, subtle and more subdued versions. They are still a little bit puffy, but it doesn't look like it was blown up by a balloon. It's not too much. These trends are kind of cool because they're just keeping what used to be in style and kind of tapering it down a little bit. Like, do you remember Madonna? Oh my God, lace was all the rage back then. I remember Madonna's first MTV Video Music Awards when she wore like that lace dress and she was wearing a spaghetti top and she had lace on her arms, lace down her dress. Her dress had like layers and layers of lace and she had hearts on it and she had that boy toy belt and all those necklaces and the curly hair. And all of the girls that wanted to look just like her and got dressed up like her, kind of like Pat Benatar before her, where many of the girls wanted to have the Pat Benatar haircut. So that was then. So what's now? Well, now they have, and I absolutely love this trend. I love the lace look, but it's not as fluffy and poofed out. And I keep saying this word ungepatchert. It's not as ungepatchert as it was back in the 80s. Now, the classic lace is just, instead of having the gloves, instead of having all of that excess, it's just toned down. And they have beautiful spaghetti strap dresses, but instead of the dress being poofed out like kind of like a princess dress, now it's just tapered and it's so pretty and very kind of more delicate and just, I would say, like a little bit more modern than anything else. Definitely worth looking at. And once I get thinner, I'm definitely going to get a dress that's more form-fitted. Okay, this is something that I used to love. And I'm going to be honest with you, regardless of your age or when you were grown up, bomber jackets will never go out of style. I still have my bomber jackets, my leather bomber jackets, okay? I know that it was something that like pilots used to wear or like high school like football players used to wear. But let me tell you something. I love a good bomber jacket. Again, what does the bomber jacket look like? They're still bomber jackets, but they're made of much lighter fabric. They don't have as much, as many layers. It's not as thick. They still kind of look the same, like the members only jackets, but the difference is they're definitely not as thick. They're lighter and more versatile, I would say. Now, this is another thing that I have to talk about. Do you remember the Jane Fonda look when people were working out in their homes, which we're still doing today, especially because of the pandemic? But women, whether they were in their house or going to aerobics outside of their house, they were wearing the leggings and then they were wearing the leotard over that with like a sports bra under that. And some of them would wear a belt and the shoes and God, it was like, it was like, it took forever to just get dressed, to just go work out. And I owe it, I think, to Jane Fonda because her home workouts really, her videos really got people into wearing this stuff. How has fashion changed with that? Well, I can tell you on a personal note, I will just wear a really good pair of athletic leggings and a dry fit shirt, whether it's a shirt or a tank. It's just become a lot more subdued. The athletic attire now, it's just more advanced as far as sweat protection goes, as far as being able to wick, that sweat away that goes like now on the outside. And I live in Florida, and those are a necessity for me to wear, especially exercising outside or walking dogs. I will get crazy hot, and for that sweat to be wicked away on the outside, I love it. So I don't really wear leggings a lot in the summer because it's too hot. I will wear moisture wicking shorts, but I love the fact that we still have some kind of a look that we can utilize, when it comes to athletic wear, especially for women. There's much more of a choice. And you know what? I really don't care what I look like when I'm working out. I kind of never did. Do you remember Keds? My mom loves Keds. I love a good pair of Keds too. I don't wear them regularly, but I know that they're comfortable. And I remember back in the 80s, every girl in school was wearing Keds, Keds, Keds. So I got Keds because it was the in thing. But they were flat and they weren't very comfortable. And so what do they now have? Well, they actually have Keds now, but they're so cool looking. It's kind of like the brand has branched out from what the original white look was, and now they have like platforms and high tops and all kinds of patterned sneakers and different colors and fabrics. So they're kind of more of an updated, 2021 look. What else can we talk about? Well, I spoke about denim jackets. This is something that I also want to talk about. Excuse me. I want to talk about other trends that are making a comeback that you have seen. Now, let me just mention, I'm not very aware of the 60s, so I'm not really going to talk too much about that, but I'm going to discuss the 70s when there were things like, denim again, and the collars in the 70s, disco time, John Travolta, how those collars were so exaggerated. What it says is that in 2021 or 2020, the version is more kind of pointy, which really is not that big of a difference. So what about from the 80s? Now, one thing that I have to mention about the 80s is everything was so flashy and everything was oversized, and we never showed off our bodies like girls do today. We were always wearing things that were bigger than what our bodies showed. And then when it got time to start wearing more form-fitted things, I was very uncomfortable because I wasn't used to wearing things that kind of showed off my body. So, within time you kind of get used to it, but I don't know. It was just not something that I was brought up with. But, do you remember hot pants? I remember hot pants. But this is something that I did want to talk about. These fashion trends that are going to be back this summer, which is what I thought that they were already in style, but shoes that are worn over the pants. I mean, I always did that. I didn't know that that was a lost trend. Like, if you're in the office or you're going out to lunch or whatever, this is a really cool look. Wearing a pair of strappy heels that go around the ankle, right? But then you can wear a pair of really skinny jeans that are apparently no longer trendy. But I'm sorry. There is nothing like a woman wearing a nice pair of skinny jeans with a pair of strappy heels. I mean, why not? if you got the body, right? Why not? Okay. There are these sleeves that are called Victorian sleeves. So they were popular back in 19th century with, the whole Victorian inspired sleeve thing going on, and it was very oversized, the shape. And because it was oversized, these sleeves, it kind of made a woman look slimmer with their waist. So now they have Victorian sleeves. They're not as poofy or dramatic, but it still kind of enhances a slimmer waist. And it says to opt for soft colors for spring, unless you want to be goth, and then you can wear something kind of like off the shoulder, something black or gray. And if you save things from the 80s, hey, guess what, ladies? Some of these puff sleeves are back. All right, chunky boots. Do you remember the grunge look? I do. I don't think it ever left. That look of wearing a pair of chunky boots with a really nice feminine type of a dress. As far as I'm concerned, grunge has never left, even though they're saying, oh, it's back. I don't ever remember it leaving. And whether you're a fan of these patterns or not, I am telling you, you can wear like a maxi dress with a pair of chunky boots or like combat boots. I think that look would be so awesome. I think it's more of like a 90s look, but who cares? People that dare to wear things that might have been trendy at one time that are not necessarily back in style will become back in style. Okay. Do you remember the bucket hats? I'm sorry, but when were bucket hats not trendy? I don't know. I live in Florida. I see people wearing bucket hats all the time. Especially, oh my goodness, at the beach. Sorry, that was my little 6-month-old puppy with his little bark. It's okay, honey. It's okay. You want mama? Okay. So now these bucket hats that they have are so pretty. They come in pastel colors, so you don't have to just wear something that's bland. You can wear something that's really pretty and block out the sun, like a pretty pastel color, like a blue or, I don't know, a yellow or a pink. I mean, those are really, really pretty. So if you live in Florida, ladies, and you like a nice bucket hat, why not buy something that has a really pretty spring floral pastel-y color? Why not, right, ladies? Let's go for it. Okay. Do you remember the faux leather jumpsuits? Now, I had mentioned a little earlier that my mom saved a pink jumpsuit that had eventually come back into style. And she was able to wear it again later on in life because she held on to it. Well, I remember the faux leather jumpsuits. And guess what? They are trendy. You can actually wear like a pleather jumpsuit. They're very versatile and they're very edgy. And I'm sorry, they're just cool. They're just so cool to wear. And they're adorable. I think they're adorable. It kind of reminds me of Britney Spears and that kind of Barbie pink leather jumpsuit. You could wear a really cool pair of boots or sandals. Listen to me, I sound like a fashionista. I have no idea what I'm talking about. But I'm looking at the pictures and they look really, really good. And the other thing I wanted to mention that is coming back in style are those square-toed heels. I'm not a big fan of heels, but you don't have to wear something that's like so high heely. You can like put a twist on a traditional heel with a square toe kind of style, because you know what? I'm short. I'm 5'3". It's not crazy short, but it's my husband's 6'4", so I'm short. But it lengthens your legs. A good heel always lengthens your legs. So especially if you're going to wear a jumpsuit or pants and you're not going to wear like short shorts or something to really elongate your legs with. So they're saying something that is a square heel is something that can really add like a special touch to your whole ensemble. And it says that you can even get sandals rather than just heels. And I'm a big sandal wearer. Again, I live in Florida, so I am so used to wearing sandals. So let's see if there's something else here that they want to mention. Oh, yes. Bucket style bags. I love bucket style bags. I love bucket style bags. I don't know why, I just do. But they're kind of cool and cute, and they were in I think the 1930s, and they're back in again now, and they're very trendy. And according to this article that I'm reading called The Trend Spotter, apparently it was Louis Vuitton in 1932 that originated this bucket style bag, and now they're back in style. And if you've never heard of them, go online and look up a bucket style bag. They are so cute. You don't have to get Louis Vuitton. They have all different cheap versions, and they're so versatile and adorable. Do you guys remember back in the 80s, the oversized gold chain necklace? God, I remember so many guys were wearing those chains. As a matter of fact, an ex-boyfriend of mine, I got this beautiful gold chain necklace, and then I got my husband one at later on. But it wasn't like oversized. I actually kind of liked it, but I do remember seeing the chunky, oversized gold chain necklaces that some men would wear, and that's an actual trend that really never 100% went out of style or out of fashion. Gold is gold. I don't ever think that particular thing would have ever gone out of style. But for me, there are times when you need to wear something big and oversized and chunky to kind of go with whatever outfit that you are wearing. And you can rock it with different chains, like now how they have the double and triple chains that you can actually wear. You can wear a really chunky style with other types of gold chains. But look, the whole point of me talking about this was really just to say how cool it is when you are born at a certain time. You make fun of your parents for wearing certain things back then, and little do your kids know that what they are now wearing is because of what we wore back in the 80s, back in the 90s, and the trends that we started. But the trends that we started were from other trends as well. So I want to pay homage to the people that started these trends forever ago, that helped push those trends even more into the 80s, 90s, new millennium, and now into 2021. And you can thank us, kids, for helping you along the way to ascertain these trends, because even though I would like to take credit for it, I can't. I can only take credit because of how other people wore these things and became trendy too. So anyway, guys, I just wanted to have fun with this week's podcast. I hope you enjoyed it. Feel free to listen to my podcast on all platforms that you can listen to, as well as reading my blog, which is nothingbutjulie.wordpress.com. Feel free to contact me or see me on social media under the name of Nothing But Julie, and I hope you have an amazing week ahead and weekend.